Hi, everybody, and welcome to Friendlies, brought to you by the Women's Game. I'm Sam Mewis, and I cannot believe how lucky we are to have Daniëlle van de Donk on the show today. She has been one of the best midfielders in the world for the last decade, playing for the Netherlands and now for Lyon. She is playing in the Champions League final this weekend, which is on DAZN at 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. We recorded this interview a couple of weeks ago before Lyon won their French league title last weekend. But we do get to preview the Champions League final a little bit with Daniëlle, which is a game that I cannot wait to watch. By the way, I will be going live with Raj after Saturday's Champions League final. You can find that right after the final whistle on our The Women's Game YouTube page. Okay, everybody, we have made it to the interview. Here we go. Here is Daniëlle van de Donk. I am so excited to be welcoming our first Dutch guest to Friendlies today. Daniëlle van de Donk is known to so many of us as a relentless, skillful midfielder from the Netherlands. She also plays for Lyon and will be competing in the Champions League final on May 25th against Barcelona. Daniëlle, we have a mostly American audience. I have no doubt that they are already familiar with you. You are a global star, and we actually played against each other in the 2019 World Cup final and also when you were at Arsenal and I was at Man City. But since then, you've made the move to Lyon and have won both the French Domestic League and the Champions League. At last summer's World Cup, you were a household name in America because of your incredible battle with Lyon teammate and our U.S. Women's National Team captain, Lindsey Horan. The notorious Swimcap situation, which we are going to get into. Daniëlle van de Donk, welcome to the Women's Game.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
I am so excited to have you. Before we get into the soccer questions, I want everybody to kind of just be introduced to you and understand a little bit more about you as a person. So can you tell us about where you're from in the Valkenswaard, Netherlands?
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm from this little town, Valkenswaard, and I think I lived there until I was like 22, and yeah, I think if I lived there, I mean, I was never really home because of, football, school, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had my bed there and my mom who was doing all the cooking, which was amazing. But yeah, no, I've left the home when I was 22, I think, or 23. I went to Sweden for a little while. Well, it was not really a good match. So I left to London after that. And then, now I'm living in Lyon and very happy. Yeah.
Amazing. So I read online as a kid that you started playing your football with boys, and I've heard from a lot of footballers that this is the case in their early playing days. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that was like when you were young?
Women's football wasn't that big yet, especially for younger girls. I think I was 4. I was very young when I started playing football. So I had to join this boys team, and they were actually amazing. Like in my village, SV Valkenswaard, it was called, and the boys just accepted me for who I was. I mean, when you're young, it doesn't really matter, but when you get older and older and older, it gets a little bit more awkward, I would say. But it was more the opponents who were always a bit like wary about me. But after the games, they were also very respectful, mostly. Yeah, that was just the situation when you were younger, I think. And I think it helped me a lot in my game, to be fair.
Yeah, that's definitely what I hear. Did you feel like women's football was something that was a career option when you were young, or did you not really have those examples?
Well, to be fair, when I was younger, I was always told that if you wanted to have a career like a professional football player, you had to go to America. So
really?
I was always looking up to the Americans, yeah.
Like, who did you look up to?
Literally, basically more of like the whole system of football.
Yeah.
I mean, also you guys, of course, but I mean, we had amazing players. I mean, everyone I think knows about Mia Hamm.
Yeah, I love Mia Hamm too.
Yes. I mean, I did a full-on essay and everything on her, so yeah, she was mostly the one I was looking up to. But I mean, I just think for women's football, it's a bit better organized when I was younger in America. But it's good to see that's all growing now, also in Europe.
Definitely. I know the game globally is just really taking off, and we've loved following your Lyon team and following Champions League, also following the WSL really closely. It's been so exciting to just see the game grow so much. But I agree, like when I was growing up, I looked up to the U.S. Women's National Team, and I feel so lucky that I had that example. So when I was like 7, me and my sister were like, we want to be professional soccer players. And we felt like that was actually possible, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. I also looked up to against my own national team. There were some very strong women in there, and they created the path that we're on now. So I'm very thankful for them, of course. But I just think you guys were so much more of a hype and known everywhere. And yeah, I always wanted to be a professional football player, so that's why, I don't know, it was always America. And I've never been.
You've never been?
Well, never been. Always thought I was going to play there, like in the league, but I don't know, it didn't cross my path.
Oh my gosh, wow. Do you think you ever would come play in the NWSL?
Well, I don't know now anymore because I'm 32.
Okay.
You never know. You know, I might, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. Okay. Earlier this year, you and Lyon teammate, Australian international Ellie Carpenter, announced your engagement. Congratulations. Is there anything you can share with us about the wedding? Do you have any wedding plans yet?
I got a ring. Yeah, we have a wedding planner because it's just too crazy for us to organize anything, really. But we actually been, when was this, 2 days ago, we've been to look at 2 wedding venues near the south of France. They were both beautiful. Yeah. I don't know how we're going to choose. Is that possible?
I know. I keep talking to Christy and Sam, my sister, and her fiance, Sam, and they're just like, yeah, we're trying, we're planning, we're just really busy. And I'm like, okay, you guys, well, let's get going. I'm very excited about this wedding.
Yeah, me too, but it's next year in the summer, so we have a while.
What's it like playing with Ellie, with your partner? Like, how do you guys manage that as teammates?
Well, you're a bit more quicker to say, hey, come on, pass me the ball. Or, you're a bit more direct, I would say. But for the rest, it goes very well.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. That must be fun, too. I feel like so many footballers are in relationships long distance, and so it must be nice to actually be together.
Oh, yes. It's the best thing ever because we bought a house in Lyon as well, so it's so nice. You actually feel like this is my home, and everything that I love is here. So yeah, it's amazing. And no, actually really enjoying it. I hope she's enjoying it too. That she plays in the same team with me, but I guess.
That's awesome. Okay, let's talk about your Netherlands national team a little bit. You've been playing on the Netherlands since 2010, and your team has some incredible global stars like Viv Miedema, Lieke Martens, Jill Roord, and Jackie Groenen. What is it like at Netherlands training with all of these incredible players? Is it very competitive?
Yeah, it's always really competitive at the national team, but I think it's because it's more because there's more of a generation gap. Because all the players that you just mentioned, they've been there for a while. And I think they all feel a bit more the responsibility to kind of show the younger ones how it's done, what we do. Kind of like a mentor role, teach them in the right direction. So it's more between the older generation and the younger generation, I must say. And but it's a very good vibe. I think it's very good. And they all want to learn so much, and the older ones are just very happy to kind of teach them.
Yeah. I when I was on the national team, sometimes when we were in a phase like that where there was clearly an older group and a younger group, they would split us up and we would do older versus younger in a finishing competition. And whenever we would win, when I was young, so whenever we'd beat the older players, we would make such a scene about it and be so obnoxious because we beat them.
Yeah, but that's just part of the game. I like it, but I must say they don't really win much from us.
Okay, so your team made the World Cup final in 2019. We played against each other in the midfield. My memories of that game are that it was such a battle. It was so physical. You and I kept stealing the ball from each other. You're so hard to play against physically because you tackle hard and you run everywhere, but tactically as well. You have such great vision, passing ability. It's such a challenge to play against you. Sorry to make you rehash this, but what do you remember about the final?
First of all, we changed our system, and I kind of hated it because I was so looking forward to play on the midfield against you guys because I don't know, like it's always such a, like you said, it's such a battle, and I still run everywhere. But I feel like I played on like the right wing a little bit more. Yeah, it was just, I don't know. We just kept hearing that America scored the whole World Cup in 12 minutes every game.
I know.
It was crazy.
We scored early every game.
Yeah, so it was already like after the game, they were like, oh, well, but they didn't score until like the 60th minute. This is their first goal. I don't get it. It's a final. They shouldn't score. Yeah, so I get very competitive.
Well, I know, yeah. I bet. So you feel like you guys changed your system a little bit for that game?
Yeah, we did. We were trying to keep you out of the 16s because guys are very effective. But I do remember you.
Well, I just remember on Rose's goal, you had just stolen the ball from me. And I was like so embarrassed and was like, oh shit, like I just really made a big mistake. But then somehow Crystal got it back and then I passed it to Rose and then we scored, which was so great. But I did want to ask you, I know that you guys had won the Euros in 2017, which was a huge sign of growth for the Netherlands program. And then making the World Cup final was another huge accomplishment. And you said that you were amazed by the growth of women's football in your home country, saying, if I look at women's football and the hype, it's amazing. I think that's what I'm most proud of, that we got so much respect from the Netherlands. Can you just tell me a little bit about what you've seen from your home country in response to your team's success?
It's like when you start playing football. So when I was 4 years old and I was like growing up, it's like all the older people are always saying, oh, but football is a man's sport. You can't ever play in the first team at SV Volkswagen because you're no future for us. It's not possible. After 18 years old, you have to go to the women's side. And stuff like that was always really annoying and triggering me. So I was always like, I'm going to play in full stadiums in my head in America. And I'm going to show that we are actually very, very good. And I'm going to get the respect of the older people, the older generation. I was very young and I remember all of it, and I don't know, so we had our ups and downs, but with Serena, I think she built a team that was just kind of born for legacy because we had so many good players in there. I mean, like the ones you just named, like Lieke Martens and Miede Marchinies van der Zanden on top. Yeah, it's one of your best attackers. So yeah, we really went for it and we did well. We kind of stayed together for like 4 years, and obviously, we won the Euros. We had a lot of luck with the route we were taking in the tournament, but I guess that's also part of the deal in football. And then no one really expected that we would do so well in the World Cup. So we were very happy that we could continue the success we had, and that we could show in another tournament that we are actually here. Like, it's just not a one-time thing. And then you could actually see that the Netherlands was like joining. I mean, the Euros was just crazy because it's your own country. The stadiums were full, streets were full. They were doing a whole parade towards the stadiums. Yeah, it was incredible. My Instagram followers went up. Stuff like that. It was amazing. And I mean, during the World Cup, there were a lot of fans too. It was in France and it was kind of close. And it was in the north of France, the beginning, the group phase. So it's not too far from the Netherlands, so a lot of people actually traveled. And also, I mean, in the final, I feel like you guys bought every seat that was available.
I know, our fans showed up to the final. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, but it was a great atmosphere. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And well, the best team won, so there's no hard feelings really. We were just very proud that we were in the final, and after that it just, I don't know, it just got a bit more respected also by our FA, and a lot of very good changes were made for us, and we're on equal rights now, and it's very good. I can't complain, and I hope we can continue this success we've had. I mean, it's a bit hard, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I think despite all of the growth and just the way the game is exploding globally, there is still work to do. And I'm really glad to hear that you feel the respect for women's football and for your team has improved over the past couple of years. And you all are responsible for that with playing the way that you've played and having the success that you've had. You've earned that respect. So I'm really happy to hear that. We have to talk about this. This is the moment that everybody remembers from the 2023 World Cup. You and Lindsey Horan had an infamous moment together. Despite being teammates at Lyon, you were kind of each other's arch nemesis on the pitch in the World Cup. So we had Lindsey on the show to talk about it from her perspective, and she said this.
This is football, and this is how it goes. Like, when we step on the field, like, no one on the opposite team is our friends. Like, that's it. I hope you agree with that. But it's like, when I go and play Dan, I'm not thinking about my friendship with Dan. And so in that game, like, Dan's going to do, like, this is one thing I really respect about her as a player. She's going to do whatever she possibly can to win the game and help her team. And, like, part of, like, what's so great about it is her aggressiveness, like, doing anything to, like, win the ball. And again, like, yeah, I didn't like the challenge, and it freaking hurt. And in that moment, I'm just like, what the? And of course, like, I see Dan right away, and I'm just like, I'm going to say something to her. and then you score, like, whatever after the game. I think the big reason that I got over it quickly was I saw her in the swimming cap. There was one moment once the final whistle blew where I was just like, are me and Dan gonna slap hands, or what are we gonna do here? Could go anyway. And then I, like, look over at her and I see her in the swim cap. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. That was their way of stopping the bleeding.
So Danielle, we have you here. This is your Lyon teammate, Lindsey Horan's side of the story. Can you tell us what happened from your point of view? First on the foul, and then Lindsey's reaction.
Yeah, like she said, I go hard in tackles. And especially, when it is the same as when I play against you, I have to go a little bit harder because you guys are just so big for me. Like, you're just too tall and everything. Like, I'm only 160, so I just have to give it a little bit more. And I think she just was out of balance a little as well, so she, like, fell a little bit harder. I mean, obviously, I didn't want it to, like, hurt her or anything. That's never my intention, because my intention is just fully to get the ball, but just give it a little bit more physical, you know. So I shoved her off the ball. She wasn't happy with that. I was very proud of myself that I could do that, but I mean, after that, I was already like, oh shit, here we go. I could see her on the sideline, and I was just like, honestly, I was hoping, I really hope you just get up and just, like, you're able to play, because, like, not my intention to hurt anyone. And then they got the corner, and there was so much going on. The referee had no idea what was going on. She literally said nothing, but she was trying to talk so much, but it just didn't come out of her mouth or anything. And then, obviously, we are in the zones there, trying to block the Rudders for the corners. And I mean, that's one of, like, her great talents. She's an amazing header, especially when you make her angry. She's just stepping up a little bit more.
I know.
She just banged it in with her head. I mean, fair enough. I mean, that was a very great goal. I just wish it didn't happen right at that moment.
I know. Well, I feel like Americans, and I was watching, and we were like, Lindsey Horan is our hero. Like, it was such a big moment for us.
Yes, of course.
But what was going through you and your teammates' minds? Did that moment feel like almost bigger than it was because of everything that led up to it? Or did you guys just kind of, like, recover from it quickly?
I think before we were quite good in the game, but especially when that happened, it was 1-1. And then I think we're just trying to get the point, like, not another goal against, because whenever we went forward, there was no one there. And we were kind of like, it was just finished for us. We were just all empty. Our system, the way we were pressing before, wasn't really working anymore. We weren't doing it anymore. So it was just, I felt like that was, like, a bit of, like, a turning point. I think America was better at that moment than we were. And I think in the first half, we were a little bit better. So it was an interesting game. Yeah, so I wish I never made that tackle. But it's football, it happens.
Yeah, for sure. I do think it was a little bit of a momentum shift. You guys started so strong. You scored early in the game, and then I think that moment, like you said, was a turning point. But towards the end of the game, you were involved in a collision with Roosevelt, and you were bleeding from your head. So your team medical people had you wear a swim cap to kind of stop the bleeding. And it kind of turned this like, it's not silly that you were bleeding, but it kind of was like silly that you were wearing a swim cap. How did you feel when they said, yes, Daniëlle, wear this swim cap for the game?
I had no idea they were going to put that on my head. And then as soon as I saw it, I was like, there's no way I'm wearing that. Why would you do that to me? And I kept saying that to the physio and the doctor, and they were like, you're wearing this. There's no other option, or you have to go out of the field and we have to stitch it. And she was like, this is the most efficient way. You won't lose time. You can continue playing. And I was just like, oh, I literally have no other choice than just to say yes now.
Oh,
so, yeah.
My gosh. Did you end up having to get stitches?
No, they glued it. It was all fine.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that big.
Okay. Well, so after the game, then you and Lindsey posted a picture together smiling, like everything was all good. And I feel like that's what it is. Playing against a friend and a teammate is on the field. It's all business. Like you're just there to help your team win regardless of the opponent. But afterwards, you guys kind of like laughed it off. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, no, that's just how it should be as well. Because I see those I have no bad intentions. And I know if it was the other way around, it would have been the exact same. I did think it helped that she scored that goal. But
otherwise, there's no forgiving.
It does make it a little bit harder, I think. The swimming cap, of course, did help as well. But I mean, Lindsey is an amazing person. She has, I don't know, she's just so nice and so genuine. So I was just happy when I looked over. She was smiling at me. And it's just all forgotten after the game and just to be friends again.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like you and Lindsey have such a great friendship. Can you describe a little bit what she's like as a player and a teammate?
Oh, I think she's amazing. It's crazy because when I first got to play with Lindsey, I didn't realize how technical good she was. I've discovered that she's really good. She's very strong on the ball, of course. She's amazing. She's amazing in heading the ball. Today, actually, on training, she just got past me so easily. And I was like, oh, I knew you were going to do that. And still, you can go past me. It's really annoying. But she's amazing. I think, especially at Lyon, she's so important. I think she's like, we also have Wendy Dana, and I think she's like, with her and a couple of more like the real leaders on and off the pitch. And I think she's doing really well this season. And I'm just very happy that she's on my team, really.
I know. I feel the same way about Lindsey. I often say this about Lindsey and Rose Lavelle, that the three of us were always kind of like competing to play and playing against each other in training, and that our relationship made all of us so much better because I'm fighting against Lindsey for time. I have to be so good if I want to even step on the field. And I think training with players like that, of that caliber, is what really makes you improve and grow as a player. So I have so much respect for Lindsey.
Yeah, same. And she will always work her ass off to win the game.
Yeah.
Which is,
for sure.
Yeah, really nice.
For sure. Lindsey's just the best. Okay, well, so this is another kind of a tough one, Daniëlle. Sorry, but after the U.S. got out in 2023 of the tournament and lost their game, your team spoke out. Forward Lineth Berenstein said, from the moment I heard they were out, I was just like, yes, bye. I was thinking you first have to show it on the pitch before you talk. Fair enough. How do you think the Dutch team, or even the rest of the world, feel about the U.S. team? What's the feeling there?
I mean, yeah, first of all, that wasn't very nice to say. I think she apologized for it as well. But I just think you guys should see it as a compliment, because you're just so good. And everyone's kind of like looking up to America. Yeah, it's like, it's always like the one who's always better. Yeah, you kind of like, you love them, but you hate them at the same time. And I think that's the relationship everyone has with America, because you're such an example in every way. But you still want to beat you guys, because then you can beat the top. Right.
That makes so much sense. I really appreciate that. So for last question about your national team, I know you all are not going to the Olympics this summer. You didn't qualify out of Europe, but you'll continue to try to qualify for the Euros next year, which you won in 2017. You mentioned a little bit about this kind of veteran players and like this younger generation coming up. Is that what you think your team is focusing on in the coming years, is kind of blending those two groups together and getting those younger players some more experience?
Yeah, I think 100% that I think also it's like for example, if I take myself, I'm one of the older ones, and I don't know how much longer. I don't think I'll be much longer in the national team. So I'm trying really to enjoy it. I really, like I said, like teach the younger ones, what I've learned already, so they can take it with them. But definitely there is there's already some movement going inside of the team, and I think it's been actually accepted very well by everyone and interpreted very well by the young players. So. I don't know. I think it's some good move going on, and it's like a natural flow. Like the older ones, they're gonna leave kind of soon because some of us have already left the team, and I think the younger ones are doing amazing. And just it must be hard, I remember when I was young and trying to like fight to get into the team. Oh,
it's so stressful.
It's so stressful. Like
I know.
No, like just give me a break, man. I'm training very good. Give me the chance.
I know. I feel the exact same way. And then you just wait. It feels like you just wait and wait and wait. And no matter how you're doing, you still kind of have to wait your turn. And then all of a sudden it's there for you. And then it goes by so fast.
Yeah. And then you're not so good at training or game.
It's like this, up and then back down. Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you a couple questions about your club play. And you've played for some of the best clubs in the world. So you started playing for Arsenal in 2015, stayed with the club until 2021. And in that time, you guys won an FA Cup, a WSL League Cup, and a WSL League title. The women's game in the UK has exploded over the last couple years, especially since the Lionesses won the Euros in 2022. But Arsenal were really ahead of that curve in terms of pushing the women's game forward in England. Do you have any examples from your time at Arsenal that kind of show how the club was trailblazing the way for the women's game in England?
Well, I think they were very good in scouting players, first of all. They always they looked a bit further or something. Like they always had like these little gems coming up and they would pick them. And so I was always training in such a good team already. Like now at Lyon, I think that all the time, but at Arsenal, I already thought that, the players weren't that well known yet. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, like Arsenal found the up-and-coming players.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, I was playing with Asisat Uswala. I've never heard of her before.
Okay.
Oh, I never heard of her. I mean, I didn't, she was really coming up, growing, and I was thinking when I was playing with her, you're something different. You're going to make it.
Like, you're going to be really good. And then she went on to play for Barcelona and do incredibly well. And now she's at Bay FC.
Exactly.
But that's such a great example.
Yeah, so kind of like those players. But also like when I got there. So before I got there, apparently like the facilities weren't so great or whatever. But for me, when I got there, the first moment I stepped foot at Arsenal, it was just amazing. We were welcomed at the same training ground as the men. So I think they have like 11 pitches, and they're all like a pool sheet, like a billiard sheet. You know what I mean? Like perfect.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Like the fields are just pristine.
Yeah, they were amazing. And then I think it was in the first year that I was there, they were building a new gym. So the first year with the gym was a bit like, it was a bit weird. It was just set up as something where like outside and a little bit inside. So that was a bit like tough. But then after, the gym was massive. And it was so good. And it really helped me as a player to become stronger, faster. They had everything. And they just provided you. I mean, for me, it's like special that we as a women's team can go in the same gym as the men, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always a given.
Right.
Or being on the same complex and stuff like that. And
right, for sure.
This was loads of like things that are different now. Because when we got there, we had to lunch with the groundsmen. And they were, for example, eating fish and chips. And I was like, oh, nice. Knowing it's not very good and healthy for you, but it was nice. But after that, we got our own chef and whatever. And like they're growing and growing and growing and developing. And you could really see the positive line they were taking.
Yeah, well, so it sounds like Arsenal was one of the first clubs to really invest in women's football years ago, kind of before this big boom of women's football in England. But then you signed for Lyon, and Lyon is another club in France who have been investing in women's football for longer than most. Lyon sets such a high standard for the professionalization of women's football. Were there any major differences when you left Arsenal and went over to Lyon? Was the football different? Was the club different? Like what changed?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I stepped foot at Lyon's training ground and I was like, how did they win everything? It was such a difference. Like, Arsenal really had everything. They had the facilities, the perfect pitches, the million gym, whatever. They had it all. And I come at Lyon and they have like, not like, I wouldn't say, well, not in a container, but it's like a building next to the big building. And it feels a bit more like a container thing. And this, the gym is very tiny. It's perfect for us. But, I mean, my expectations were a bit different. And we have one field for us, one pitch. And it's a beautiful pitch. Can't complain about the pitch. But it was just all a bit more smaller.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, how have they won everything?
What's the answer? Like, there you are. You guys are still winning a lot. You're still in the Champions League final. What's the secret at Lyon?
It's a very good question. I think it's just the standards they have in the team. It's crazy because that's for me the most important difference that I've noticed in any team that I've played. First of all, it's like a little family. Everyone is so nice. Everyone is welcomed at the club, and it's like a happy little family. It feels good off the pitch, but also on the pitch. So I think that's like a very good atmosphere to have to keep building on something. And obviously the competition inside of the team is massive. So everyone is really fighting for their spot every day. You have to train well or you're not playing. I think that's a good thing to have. But yeah, most of all for me, my biggest change and the thing I look up to most is kind of like Wendy. Like, Wendy for me is like, I need to make her happy, or I want her to think that I'm good. If that makes any sense.
That makes total sense. And I know we're talking about Wendy Renard, legendary center back for Lyon and for France. I was going to ask you about her, but I know exactly what you mean. I feel that way about Becky Sauerbrunn, that like, if I have Becky's approval, like, I'm good. Like, that's all I needed was for her to think I'm good and like me. Tell me a little bit more about Wendy and her leadership and what makes her so good on the field.
Well, first of all, she's so funny. Because in the beginning, I was just like, this girl is just serious. Like, the way she plays, the way she looks on camera, like, I've never met her really before. I've only played against her or saw her on the television.
I would think that she would be serious.
Oh, she's so funny. This is crazy.
Oh my God, I want to meet her.
Oh, you would love her. If you don't love Wendy, then I don't know who you are, but you can't not love her. She's amazing. Anyway, on the pitch, she has this big personality, yeah. So everyone's a little bit scared of her, but in a good way. And then, for example, there's a good example. I think we were winning 5-0 in the league. It was just a league game. It was going very easy. Where it wasn't even halftime. And I think it was Katarina Macario. She missed a sitter. She's my friend, I can say this. And when he walks up to her, because we had a corner, and she smacks her on the head a couple of times, and she says, "Mon ami, my friend, you have to go and score this opportunity. You can't miss. We have to keep scoring." And I was like, looking at it, I was like, wow, it's 5-0. We will win this game, but you was like, the standards are here. Like, she doesn't drop them. You know what? Like, every training is bam, bam, bam. Every game is, no, we can't lose focus. We have to keep going, have to keep building. And always Champions League in the back, because that's what they all play for. They play for every trophy, but Champions League is the main thing.
Wow. That's amazing. I would love to have Wendy Renard on this show. Maybe you can put in a good word for me.
Oh, I will.
Oh, thank you. That sounds great. So, the Champions League final, like you said, this is what your team is really, really playing for. It's on May 25th, and you're coming up against a really difficult opponent, defending champions Barcelona. This is a rematch of the 2022 final, which you guys won 3-1. But then Barcelona won last year. They beat Wolfsburg in the final. What are you most looking forward to about this game?
To play, really. I really hope I'm playing. Well, last time. I mean, that's what you play for. I mean, every player wants to play in the Champions League final, and yeah, like I said, there's a lot of competition in between the team, so it's always, yeah, I don't know, give and go. Are you playing? Are you not playing? You don't know, but it's good. Like, you need that. But after that, it's just gonna be such a great game. I just know it. I don't know why, but I think it's gonna be such a high level because I really like the way Barcelona plays. Like, they play beautiful football. They've been very effective, and I think they have more games than we do in the competition. Yeah, they've been, I don't know, they've been flowing around. They had a good flow going around in the team. I kind of hope it doesn't go that well on the Champions League day, but I mean, no, I look forward to the game. I think it's going to be competitive, high level, high tempo, and hopefully loads of goals, but we'll see.
Yeah. How does your Lyon team prepare to play against a team like Barcelona who have so much attacking talent?
Yeah, that's a good question. Do I think no, I think so. It's a bit different for us because we have I think the same in America, the playoff thing at the end of the season. So now we're going to have to play the semi-final and then the final of the league. And then after is the Champions League final. So we kind of have to focus on the next game coming. So we're not really... I know in our heads, the players, the coaches, we are already there with the Champions League final. It's very much individual. Like, what can I do better? Where can I help more? Or which clips will help me to achieve the next goal, whatever. But it's more like that for the Champions League that we are now getting ready with the team. Because that's just the next game.
Well, I am so excited to watch the Champions League final. That is just going to be such an incredible game. Your team is so talented, and so is Barcelona. I think it's going to be one of the highlights of women's football for this year. I want to thank you so much for coming on this podcast. I know it was your first podcast, so I hope you enjoyed it. I have always really admired you as a player, Daniëlle, mostly because you were so difficult to play against. You're so skillful. You have such amazing vision. You're dangerous in front of goal. And to top it all off, you're a tough defender. You're so experienced. And you've had success at every level. So this is my last question for you is, what would you say has been the highlight of your career to this point?
Winning the Euros. For sure.
In 2017 with the Netherlands.
Because I wanted the respect in the Netherlands, and I think we really gained respect from the people in the Netherlands by winning that tournament.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that. That's amazing. Well, again, I'm so excited to watch your Champions League final. I hope you're playing. I hope you guys do well. And I feel like we're friends now, so I'm so glad that you came on here. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you. It was amazing, and I mean, I always find it very difficult to play against you two. So, no, honestly, you're an amazing player, and everyone knows you as well, also in Europe. So that's a sign that you've been very good. So I was happy I could play against you, and yeah, I learned a lot how to use my body and everything. And no, thank you for inviting me on your podcast. It's amazing.
Of course, anytime, and you can put in a good word for us with Wendy as well.
I will.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniëlle.
Thank you.
Daniëlle was such a joy to have on the show. After playing against her for years, I really just loved chatting with her as a person and understanding a little bit more about her life growing up in the Netherlands and her game as a professional. She's truly one of the best in the game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her play this weekend with Lyon in the Champions League final. Don't forget, you can catch that game on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern for free on DAZN. Thank you all so much for being here. If you are enjoying these podcasts, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast feed. You can also share this episode with a friend. Spreading the word about the women's game will ensure that we can make even more of this content that I hope you are all loving. You can follow along with TWG on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Women's Game MIB. Plus, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all of these episodes there. You can also tune in to our Do It Live on Saturday after the Champions League final. And finally, for a healthy dose of women's football delivered to your inbox every Monday, subscribe to our newsletter via the link tree in our social media bios. Whew! That is all I have for you today. Next week's schedule is a little bit different. We have to keep you all on your toes. So look out for Friendlies on Tuesday with Ashley Sanchez of the North Carolina Courage. She spills the tea on TikToks with Trinity Rodman, her trade from the Washington Spirit, and how difficult not playing at the World Cup was for her last summer. It's a really incredible interview, and I'm so excited for you to hear it. We just had to drop it 2 days early. Then we'll give you good vibes on Thursday with Lynn Williams. It's just a little flip-flop next week. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll see you soon.